Welcome to Kung Fu Habit number 2. This is part 1 of the strange and unusual. While we're letting my batteries charge so that I can go and film, we are going to. I may be filming tomorrow because these batteries don't seem like they're charging. Anyway, we're going to talk about strange, unusual, and spiritual stuff, which means if you are a person of God or an atheist, this video may not be for you. It may scare you, it may not. I'm going to speak of a couple of experiences. I'm not going to go back in time to talk about the Witch Rider, so you guys can go check my other video out. It's a two-parter about the Witch Rider, which led me to making this video right here, right now. So, Bigfoot. Let's talk about Bigfoot first. Alright? Bigfoot is something that I personally can tangibly say that there have been some sightings here in Virginia. Alright? Now, here's where the funny thing is. Alright, my dad's dead and gone, but before my dad died, I was going to visit my uncle, who I'm no longer speaking with because he brought up my dead father, and it wasn't something that he should have ever said, and I forgive him, but I don't have to speak to him. You can forgive someone and not have to speak to them. So my uncle, I was going to see him one day, and I'm driving. I'm pretty sure I was in my yellow car, because my dad was still alive, and my white car was mine. It wasn't fixed yet. No, it was like before my dad died. It's probably like a year or two before my dad died. And I'm going down to Buckingham. Now, this is going to tie in with some actual factual sightings. So just so that if you're here on Instagram and you're not aware of what the fuck I'm talking about, there's two sightings that has been in Howardsville, in Charlottesville, well, in Howardsville, Virginia, rather, which is like in between Nelson County and Buckingham. There have been at least two sightings by game wardens, which they have not debunked yet over the last few years. If you guys can Google that and find it, that would be great. But if you Google it and find it and it's been debunked, then let me know, because while here in Virginia, sometimes they shit that reaches everywhere doesn't reach the place that it actually happened in. Alright? So, here's my story. I'm driving to Buckingham. I've gone through Scottsville, which is like, I didn't go to Howardsville way to get to Buckingham, so I had to go to Scottsville way. So I'm going to Scottsville. I go through the tiny town of Scottsville. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour until you get to the bridge where it's 35 miles an hour and then it hits 55 miles an hour. So I'm doing all that. I get to where I basically have to make a U-turn to go to the part of Buckingham where he lives at, which Howardsville is like not too far from there. So as I'm driving down the road, I see this thing. Alright? Now here's where shit gets fucked up. Because I know for a fact there's no zoos in Buckingham. There's no zoos in Scottsville. Scottsville is like this big compared to Charlottesville, which is like that big. Scottsville is like this big. If you blink, you'll drive right through it. So Buckingham would be all the land around Scottsville. Alright? And Albemarle and Buckingham are kind of like one whole unit. So I'm driving, and there's this brown thing in a tree. I mean, it's way up in the fucking tree, like a bear in a tree. And I'm hoping that's what it was. I'm hoping it was a bear, but I've never seen a grizzly bear climb a tree. And here in Charlottesville or in Albemarle County and stuff, I've never seen anything other than a black bear. And I've never seen one in person, just on the news, except for this thing is in the tree. And we don't have sloths here, right? That I know of. Unless somebody had a sloth and it got away, it was up in this tree. So I'm driving my car, shifting gears, and yeah, a lot of people don't follow their instincts. I follow mine most of the time, and I got this feeling that I needed to look up. So I'm slowing down, I'm looking up, and this thing is in the tree, and it's hanging out of the tree, like it's got one hand on the trunk of the tree, and it's hanging and it's looking. It has the other leg hanging, and it's like, it's not one-legged dangling like thing. It's like kind of trying to stand, like it has both legs at the bottom of the trunk and it's on its hand. But it's not holding on like a sloth. It's just hanging there like this. And I'm driving, I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I'm going down the hill and there's a bridge there, but there's nowhere to turn around. And if you go up the hill, like maybe a half a mile, maybe not even that far, you get to my uncle's house. Well, not me. I'm a dumbass. I get off the bridge. There's just barely enough space to turn my little yellow car around. And I whip that bitch around. and I come back up there. But it's not the tree anymore. Wherever it is, it's fucking gone. And I mean, it's literally just gone. It's like, it took maybe 5 minutes to get back up to the spot with the tree. And the tree is in a clearing, like they were like clearing out trees or burning stuff down or whatever. And that same tree's still there today. And it's gone. Uh-oh. There's not a lot of time. I will probably pop back on Instagram if anybody cares. But I'm going to keep going for Comfy Havoc number 2. So, I drive back up there. And there's nothing. The tree's still there. But there's nothing. And I'm like, how fast does this thing move for it to be off this tree? I mean, the tree is a tall ass tree. So, tree is a tall ass tree. Sorry. Scary stuff. Alright. So the tree is a tall ass tree. And this thing is not small by any means. But I don't know what the hell it is. And me not knowing what the hell it is kind of fucked me up. You know, because I've never seen anything like it before. Ever. So, that being said, I jumped back and turned the car around to go to my crazy uncle. Hello, Instagram. We're back. I'm going to go into the battery dies on the phone. So we're picking up with more scary stuff for you. Anyway, so I'm driving back, and I mean, I'm flooring it now. Because I only have, it's only going to be like 5 minutes to get to my uncle's house from that spot. Because I got back over the bridge. So I got back over the bridge, and I ran up to my uncle's house because I don't even know why I was going to see my uncle. Because whatever I was going to see him for, whatever was in that tree, wiped my mind out. I knew I had to go see my uncle for something, but whatever it was, I have no fucking idea. But I knew I had to tell my uncle about this thing. And I was like, yo, let me hurry up and get to my uncle's house. Because he might have seen it before or not. So I drove to my uncle's house, and I mean, I was driving like a bat out of hell. So I got there, put the car in first gear, put up the e-brake, got out of the car and said, hey man, I got to tell you something. I know I came here for something else, but this is mad more important. Do y'all have bears that climbs trees here? And he's like, no, we don't have bears that climb trees here. I said, so we don't have brown bear? He's like, we got brown bear, but you ain't gonna find one in the tree. I said, look, dude, there was something in that fucking tree down the road, over the bridge. There was something in a fucking tree. It was really fucking big. It was super huge. And it was in the fucking top of that fucking tree. He's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck it was. It was not a bear, though, but it was big, and it was in the fucking tree. So maybe it was like a teenage yeti or whatever the fuck it was. It was on 2 legs. It was hanging in the tree. So it was like hanging from the tree like this, but both its feet were on the trunk and one hand. It was kind of like this, and it was looking like it was looking around, which is when I told you that I had that feeling that something told me to look up, and there it was. So I looked up, and it was there. But when I turned the car around to go back, it was gone. So I turned the car back around to go to my uncle to tell him what was going on with this damn thing. And I'm freaking the fuck out. You know. So, now, few days to a week or so later, game wardens report seeing a Sasquatch in Howardsville. Howardsville is approximately maybe 3 to 5 miles from my uncle's house. 3 to 5 miles. It's not a big jump when you're in a car. It's really not. So, under the bridge where people usually go swimming and things, and also where there has been a mountain lion attack that attacked our dog when I was a child, that's where they claim they spotted Bigfoot down there. So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe because of that 3 to 5 mile gap, that this thing that was also brown that they took a fucking picture of could have been the same thing in the tree. Because, you know, bears are pretty big. And as big as a bear is, you don't see a big bear climb this tall ass fucking tree. Now, if the legends of Bigfoot and stuff are real and they're like 10 feet tall, and some are slim and some are girthy, maybe a juvenile one would climb the tree. Not a full-grown one, but maybe a juvenile. So I'm freaking the fuck out. So when this thing popped up on Facebook, I popped up and called my uncle and said, hey, look, I'm going to try to send you this thing. And I tried to send it to him. I got to plug this phone up because I don't want Instagram to miss anything. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking to my uncle. And I'm thinking that I have lost my everlasting mind. No. I mean, I'm ape shit crazy about what the hell I'm seeing. No. Literally, I'm going nuts. And I seen the thing on Facebook. And I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe I'm not nuts. Maybe these things do exist. Maybe somebody finally got a picture and I'm still waiting for them to debunk it. So about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, more recently, they saw another one in Howardsville. And they still haven't debunked that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, first and foremost, the game wardens. For those who don't know what a game warden is, excuse me, their new name, conservation officers spend all day in the wilderness. Alright? Maybe they have cabin fever. Maybe they paid somebody to put on a big ghillie suit. Maybe they got like a really good guy who's really huge to get into this giant ass monkey gorilla type suit. Maybe they had money to build a Sasquatch suit. Maybe. But until it's been debunked, we're just going to say that down in Howardsville, twice now, there have been a Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, whatever the hell you want to call them, cryptid, sighting. Which throws me way back to when I was driving my car, going to Buckingham to see my crazy ass uncle, in which I no longer speak to, this thing in the tree. Hopefully you guys are following me here. Because I'm freaking the fuck out on this thing. And I'm like, whoa, these things might actually exist. These things might actually be real. No. Again, they have not debunked it. As of today, I haven't found anything about it debunking, but they also haven't mentioned it. So, it's possible that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, Ringaroo, Ohio Grassman, Skank Ape, Stank Ape, whatever, everything outside of the swamp thing may exist. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow. Now, in the other videos, I talked about my spiritual experiences with the Witch Rider, and earlier in this video, I talked about dream walking and shit like that. But as far as these Yetis and things go, I'm not going to say that they don't exist. I'm not going to say that they do exist, because I do believe that they do, but I don't want to try to throw that down your throats or whatever. But seeing that thing in the tree, and then seeing 2 news reports about it, kind of fucked me up. Now, whether they are real or not is the issue with me. Because conservation officers, again, they break in your house when you kill one too many deers. Or they hunt you down if you shoot an animal that's out of season, and they give you a fine and it's possible jail time. Luckily for me, I don't do any hunting. But for the sake of all that is holy, if they are out making fun and doing this, then they should probably come out and debunk these damn things. But if they're not, because I used to watch Mountain Men all the time, and I would love to be on that show because there's nobody of color on the show, but they do have a lot of references to Native American folklore and stuff, and I think Trapper recently passed. So Mountain Men, if you're out there, I want in. You know, I'm also part Native American. I know a little bit of Native American folklore, so I'm down, and I need a job. But you guys aren't trapping my ass in the woods by myself, I can tell you that right now. And y'all have very brave cameramen. Now, there are also other shows like that where they build traps and shit and all kinds of other stuff. And sometimes they tag teamed, and most of this shit was filmed in West Virginia. Because West Virginia has some of the most cryptic sightings outside of Virginia, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, even down in Georgia, and even in Florida where Skank Ape is. You know, so we all can't be smoking the same purple haze. We can't all be drinking the same juice, especially when I don't fucking smoke. But I will tell you, to have these things happen not too long after I seen that thing in the tree. And I'm going to continue to refer it to as that thing in the tree, because for me to say Bigfoot climbed a tree is a stretch. Alright? In most stories, Bigfoot has been known to knock a fucking tree down, maybe throw a fucking tree, but never climb a tree. So if it was a juvenile Yeti or whatever and it climbed a tree, cool. But I know I saw something in that fucking tree, and within 6 months to a year, they had found at least one sighting in Howardsville. And then 2 or 3 years ago, which was 4 or 5 years prior to that, my dad's only been dead for 5 years, they found a newer one in Howardsville. And both times, different conservation officers have put that out there. So if the conservation officers are just bored and pay the guy to get in a suit to do that, then shame on you. But if the footage is real, if the shit is 1000% legit, then thank you. And you see how that works? Yeah, because it's a double standard. I mean, if you're fucking with us, that shit's not cool. But if you're telling us the truth, then it is cool, because that means we have something out there that is an anomaly that we should probably go look into. Now, I'm not going to say that you should shoot the damn thing. No, you should never kill anything unless you intend to eat it. But if you're going to trank it and bring it in, then we should know about it, you know. So, we're going to leave Bigfoot and stuff now, and we're going to go on to more unearthly supernatural things. So, yeah, we're about to go into aliens now. Alright? Because that same crazy uncle that I no longer speak to also was in the Navy and strong believer in Area 51, and now with all the Government Care Acts or whatever the hell that's been passed, and they have proven that Area 51 does exist, you kind of gotta wonder if some of these things we see on YouTube aren't just some asshole with a camera and a digital skill of, let me put this here and that there and this there and make this thing look like this and let it walk across. I mean, that can be done too. Any guy who's taken filming and special effects can create anything at any time, and boom, you know, you got a panda's ass on camera. So, thought that would be cool, you know, panda's ass. But, you know, the thing is, when it comes to stuff like that, there are 50% of us who will believe that, and there's 45% of us that will take it as face value. And then there's me, and the people like me who want to believe it, but I'm more of a seeing is believing, and just because I see it doesn't make it real, because of that thing in the tree. Okay, but in all honesty, this crazy uncle said once that he once saw UFOs in the sky in 3 diamond shapes, and he said he's seen it more than one time. I have never, ever seen a UFO, unless you count every airplane in the sky outside of the helicopter Pegasus. And why did I say that? Because unless your name is Kal-El, or the Sentry, or Hyperion, or Thor, or any other superhero in the Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Harbinger, Archie's, I'm missing another brand, IDW, unless you're one of those superheroes who have excellent sight and can see from the ground and identify plane flight 555 11210, if you can see from the ground, then every plane that you see technically is a UFO. Alright? It's an unidentified flying object. And no one can see from the ground the numbers on that plane, unless they're big, bright, and red and they're flying in an altitude lower than 10,000 feet. Alright? With big, bold words on it. The same thing can be said for helicopters. The only reason why I can identify Pegasus, because the University Hospital has Pegasus, it's a fucking blue helicopter with an orange fucking horse with wings on it. They have a yellow one, but it's not named Pegasus. I don't know what its name is. But they generally rescue you with Pegasus. Okay? So that being said, you know, if you're getting airlifted to UVA, you're getting a flight by Pegasus. Alright? May God have money on your insurance. Because getting airlifted to anywhere costs you a fucking arm and a leg, so you might as well just be better off dead. But anyway, again, praying I never need that, because I don't have any money. Now, and I'm a veteran. I don't have any fucking money. I get like $280 a month from the United States military. You try managing that with the bills of your car insurance, your cell phone, and your dental insurance. Each one of these things are not cheap. Plus, the bulk of that money right now is going into my paper publishing book deal. So hopefully when Love 13 gets reviewed, that will probably be the one that brings me the most money. But right now they're reviewing and we're working on American Kona Weech because I'm paying for that one to get published. Okay, moving on. So he said he's seen 3 diamonds in the thing. Now, he told me this years ago, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe he was high, and maybe he was watching Land of the Lost. Because in Land of the Lost, there was like some diamond stuff in the sky, and the slee stacks looked like real lizards versus that other thing that they did in like the remake, which was cool. But you know, when it comes down to aliens, no one can prove that they don't exist. And Travis Walt did a story, and they made a movie about it called Fire in the Sky. And going from there, there have been other alien abductions. Mila Jovovich did a movie based on a true story, and they actually had actual foul footage of a woman whose kids were abducted in Alaska. And they tried to charge her with their murder, but the bodies were never found, and habeas corpus is a thing, and all kinds of other shit. And I don't remember the name of the movie, but it has Mila Jovovich in it, so just Google her, and you'll be able to find the movie. But it has something to do with Alaska and abductions, because most of the abductions do happen in places where there are little to no populace. Alright? So, no one in New York, in the middle of Manhattan, is going to be abducted by aliens, and that shit not be seen. No one in Brooklyn, no one in Queens, no one in Bronx. They're definitely not going to the Bronx. They know not to fuck with the Bronx. No one's going there to fucking abduct anybody. And that includes aliens and humans. No one is going to go do that because they know we don't fuck with the Bronx. Alright? They're not going to fuck with anybody in Queens. They're not going to fuck with anybody in Brooklyn. They're definitely not going to fuck with anybody in Bronx. They're not going to fuck with anybody in Manhattan because Manhattan is live like that. They may go to Jersey. They may not. I can see the aliens landing now. Yeah, that's her right there. Let's just grab Snooki. Yeah, let's grab Snooki. She's too small. She can't defend herself. Let's just grab Snooki. I don't think that aliens are going to do that. And I'm pretty sure that they're not going to take Snooki. Much love, Snooki. But anyway, you know, places like Texas, where there's like maybe the Pueblo Indians. Because Native Americans, I got to do it. I got to do it for my people. Native Americans do have the legend of sky people. Okay? And this varies from tribe to tribe, so let me put that out there. Just like Coyote, just like the Deer Woman, just like Thunderbird, just like the Yetis, and just like the Iceberg Queen or whatever. Tribal stories change tribally. And Native Americans have had legends of sky people and things like that. So, that being said, you have to be careful because the Wendigo story changes tribally as well. Wendigo psychosis has been a term dubbed by European, aka white, doctors as a form of cannibalism. Alright? So, if you have somebody who suffers from Wendigo psychosis, it just means that they're fucking cannibals and they ate their family. But for the Native American tribes, Wendigo is a whole different ball of wax. Same thing with Rougarou. Same thing with like Skank Ape and all these other mythological creatures of legend and shit. You know, you can't knock them out of the box, but at that same time, proving that they exist is an issue. That was a leaf. So, you know, proving that they exist is an issue. And it's an issue that will always stay in well standings of how these things work. But I can tell you now, you know, I'm not going to put anything past anything. Again, I believe in God. I can't see God. I can't hear God. I can't really feel God. It's not the same as tasting butter on bread. Alright? It's not the same as eating fried chicken for dinner. It's not the same. You know. But God is something that I strongly believe in. I've lost my faith every now and again. But I have 2 crosses on my dog tags. This one here is WWJD rather, and this one here says, with God all things are possible. I rarely don't wear this. If I'm going filming, I leave it here. If I'm going to work, I leave it here, and since I'm in class here every day, it just hangs there. I want to get a choker and just wear my crosses. But I want to get like a choker where I can just wear a small cross, so I never have to take the damn thing off. This jewelry is the only jewelry that I will ever wear. So, that being said, I would like to have a choker. I know you guys are thinking, but you're a straight man, what do you need a choker for? I've always liked chokers. You know, I just didn't want to make people think I was gay, so I never really wear them. But I like chokers. It's my thing. But Native American men also wore chokers. Like the bone chokers. I want one of them, but I want a cross on it. But I want it built into the choker so that I don't have to have the cross dangling. So if I take a shot to the throat, it's not going to hit the choker into the throat, or it's not going to hit the cross and dig it into my throat. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, aliens, man. We can't prove that they don't really exist. We have had people who have had alien abductions, and in places that have the least amount of people. So like desert communities, Native American tribals like Pueblo, Lakotas, all of them have alien stories. All right, where you know places where there are more woods with people, you probably have more sightings but less abductions. All right, and the reason for that is, out in the desert, there's not a lot of places that you can hide from an alien because there's nothing fucking there. Where in the wilderness, there's a lot of places you can hide, but we don't know what the dexterity of the alien body. We don't know if the aliens are running through the woods chasing us or any of that other stuff. It's not like science fiction movies, because Predator can vanish and pop up out of nowhere. Alien spits acid. We don't know. We don't really know, but we do know. Like, Travis Walsh's incident happened in Texas. I don't know what part of Texas, but I know it was Texas. So either out in the wilderness or out in it might not have been Texas. I know Travis Walt has a story called Fire in the Sky. Go read it. There was an interracial couple before I was born, somewhere in the 60s. Okay, that's not going to work. There was an interracial couple. I can't remember their names. There was a black man and his wife who was white. They were in the 60s or the 50s. They lost 2 days traveling home when they were abducted in their car by aliens. And then they came home and they had missed 2 days or some shit like that. I'm probably not telling the story 1,000% accurate. But I know that the couple was a black man and a white woman, and had to answer a lot of questions to the government because nobody knew what the fuck happened to them. Same thing that Travis Walt went through in Fire in the Sky. All of his friends were questioned because they thought that they murdered him and left his ass out there. He showed up alive. He started having all kinds of problems, and then he got hypnotized. Same thing with the character that Mila Jovovich played in whatever movie where she was getting attacked by aliens in Alaska, who would menacingly wind up taking her children. All right. Now there have been sightings of UFOs in Hawaii. There have been sightings of UFOs all over the world and in Asia as well. As far as the abductions, no one really knows about these other abductions on other continents, but I know for America there has been at least 3 reported abductions, and only one has been made a movie. They did a documentary on the mixed couple, and the documentary was turned into a movie with Mila Jovovich of the lady in Alaska who was like a psychiatrist or some shit, who got hypnotized and revealed the alien abduction, and nobody believed her, etc., etc. Now, if you want to go into true life stories, I'm still twisted up with the Amityville House of Horror. Annabelle, they have proven was real. Amityville, still touch and go, but the people who did Annabelle also did the Amityville House of Horror, which is another reason why people were like really confused. So as far as I'm concerned, Amityville has a big question mark. Was good entertainment, but the entity, on the other hand, they proved that to be real, where the lady was being sexually assaulted by a ghost. I do not know how the hell you were sexually assaulted by a ghost, but Echo, you're coming in late, but how are you? Anyway, the whole thing is that supernatural, aliens, all these things have yet to be unproven, but yet to be proven. Now, this Bigfoot shit, like with what I said in the earlier videos, and the IGTV has it, and YouTube's gonna have it after I'm done posting, or after I'm done recording and then posting. the whole thing with aliens, a lot of people now are considering Bigfoot and aliens to be one and the same, but the Bigfoot is like their suit so that they can survive Earth's harsh climates. Now, I'm not going to go with that because they're also saying that Bigfoot has the ability to turn invisible and also put out a sonic nerve disruptor that can make people like freeze in place or whatever. I mean, there's a fuck ton of stories on these things. And, I'm watching Travel Channel. It's muted right now. I think they're talking about Ghost. Let's turn that up and see. Somebody ass is on fire. Let's just read the goddamn caption. Okay, believers, buyers beware. So if you guys get the Travel Channel, you can go watch that right now. It's only 6 minutes left of that show. But they're doing a whole Believers Marathon apparently until 6 o'clock, and then Ghost Adventures come on. I hope that my camera's charged so I can go back outside and start working on my film. So anyway, moving forward, the thing with these aliens and supernatural stuff, I would like to get tea, but right now I'm just going to get this ginger ale because it's going to be a whole lot easier to stay here instead of trying to go up the hall. And this camera doesn't pause, and neither does Instagram until I'm like live outside somewhere. Then the video does pause. So we're just going to go with the ginger ale. Now, the thing with aliens and Bigfoot and the combo. Alright, we can't say that it's not happening. We can't say that. We can say that it is possible. Because true to God, nothing is impossible. Improbable, impractical, yeah, you can check those things. But as for impossible, a lot of people told that the Wright brothers that their planes would never get off the ground. Look at the world now. Every plane is flying everywhere, with the exception of Corona, where we're all masking up. Now we're all masking up, and it's not so much a choice as, I don't want my grandmother to die because somebody decided I'm not gonna wear this mask. So I wear the masks. I don't want to be held responsible for your grandmothers to die. But let's get back on topic. These aliens, these cryptids, all these things, there has to be some realism to them. I mean, 95% of the world is not on drugs. Alright? 95%. There's a small percent of people who do drugs recreationally. There's a bigger percent of people who do drugs for the simple fact that they have pain and they have to deal with that shit. Don't worry, I'm not going to get completely naked. Just going to show you guys that, especially like here for Instagram. Alright, let's go up instead of down. So, hopefully you guys can see that. This is from my hip replacement. Every now and again I get a twinge like right here where there's pain. I do not take pills for it. I power through it because I don't believe in drugs. I mean, if I have a migraine and I have no choice, yeah. But that hip pain, I power through that shit. I refuse to take pain pills for that. And the main reason behind that is when I first was on pain pills, when I first had the hip replacement, when I wasn't allowed to do anything but go to the bathroom and fart, the drugs had me going to Canada and killing strippers with my walker. So I was like, yeah, I don't need drugs. Drugs are not for me. And once they cleared me for doing martial arts, you guys see the videos. I'm back. I'm not back up to full armored speed, and I will never ever get that back, but I have enough to survive with. And you guys can feel free to share those martial art videos. And my shorts did not roll properly down my leg. Sorry. Anyway, so aliens, we have to wonder, because there are a lot of theorists out here about, like, is God an alien, or was Jesus one of us, or was Jesus a hybrid, and all these other theories, because, God could do things that humans can't. And we're often wondering if God is just a big alien being that comes to visit and could make magic happen, or as Tony Stark says, science that we don't understand. But I'm like, the way I see supernatural stuff and alien stuff, I kind of see them all the same. Because the thing is, you can't disprove God, but you also can barely prove God when it comes to talking to people who don't believe it. You can't make somebody believe something that they don't. You can't do that. You can try, but I can almost guarantee the only thing you're going to do is probably believe that they're going to be angry at you for trying to make them believe something that they don't. Now, aliens is a hard subject. It's a touch and go subject, but it's a hard subject because of the simple fact that you got these entities, and we don't know if all of them look the same. I know you guys are younger than me here on Instagram and on YouTube. Matter of fact, a good movie for you to go see, or rent rather, because I don't think you can go see it, is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I do not know if there was ever a Close Encounter of the First or Second Kind, but I do know that there is a Close Encounters of the Third Time, because it's been on HBO like 3 times, and I missed it the first 2 times, so I recorded it the third time, and I finally got to watch it, and it's a good movie. The ending kind of fucked me up a little bit. I was like, okay, so Richard Dreyfuss and them just up and, spoiler alert, left with the aliens. But prior to that, if you watch it from beginning to end, minus the fact that I just fucked the movie up for you, the story's not that bad. And I am into science fiction and scary stuff, so for me, it was an okay thing. Please be fully charged, because you stopped blinking. Okay, it's not fully charged, but I'm just gonna go charge the other one. Let's see what we got here, because I still have to wait for the other camera, which more likely means I'll be recording tomorrow, which is gonna fucking suck. This one's fully charged. Alright, so I'm gonna put you back on and plug your ass back up for a few minutes. I wonder if it'll charge with the camera still on versus off. That might have been the kicker. Nope, it's not even blinking. So let's see what happens now. Alright, we're just gonna let it blink. I may need to let it die. So that might be the thing. Well, it's blinking now, so okay. Sorry. Alright, so the thing with aliens and stuff, is that there's been a rough road trying to prove that they exist. It's been a rough road proving that they don't exist. It's been a rough road no matter how you slice it when it comes to things that are of spiritual need or proof. And the thing with that is, you have to understand where people are coming from. You got people who have been abducted and they're telling their story. The trick of telling any story is getting someone to actually believe that this shit has happened to you. Which goes back to, those percentage of people who are intrigued and want to know just to hear your bullshit. And then you have the people who literally need to hear it, want to believe it, and stuff like that. Which is why shows like Believers are on right now on the Travel Channel. And, they're talking about ghosts right now. But at the same time, in the other videos I did speak of ghosts and stuff, and the Witch Rider and things like that, and how what spirits don't know is now something that I've told you. If they can touch us, there's no physical law that says we can't touch them, which I discovered with the Witch Rider. Now, dogs are barking. I'm going to stop this video for Kung Fu Havoc number 2 and make a second part to that. And I will be back Instagram hopefully in like